Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan, coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The director of the Holy See Press Office, Matteo Bruni, has said that there is no grave security threat to Pope Francis in either the Democratic Republic of the Congo or South Sudan, the countries he is slated to visit from the 31st of January to February the 5th. He confirmed that all security precautions had been taken by local authorities. The Pope's trip to the countries, which he had to postpone last July owing to health concerns, was described in detail by Bruni at a briefing on Tuesday morning. He noted that the Holy Father will visit the DRC from the 31st of this month to the 3rd of the next, and then spend 2 days in South Sudan with the Anglican Archbishop of Canterbury and the moderator of the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland as part of an ecumenical pilgrimage for peace before he returns to the Vatican. Bruni added that this will be Pope Francis's 40th apostolic visit abroad. At its conclusion, he will have visited 60 countries. According to the Dicastery for the Service of Charity, headed by Polish Cardinal Krajewski, as much as €2.2 million was spent on humanitarian aid in Ukraine in 2022. A further $8.5 million in papal charity donations were made last year, providing medical supplies, food, shelter and sanitation to individuals in need all around the world. As the war in Ukraine continues and people get weary of lending a helping hand, another €2 million is sitting in reserve. The Vatican money will also help provide sports and arts classes for children. In 2022, Cardinal Krajewski visited Ukraine on 5 occasions. He attended an interfaith prayer session for peace in Lviv during his first visit in March, and on his second visit, he presented an ambulance blessed by Pope Francis to a hospital in the same city. Another ambulance was given to a Kiev hospital during the Easter tour. During the 4th trip in mid-September, the Cardinal visited eastern Ukraine and escaped gunfire while distributing supplies in Zaporizhia. Cardinal Krajewski's final visit to the country last year was for Christmas, when he arranged for the distribution of thermal clothing. In the American state of Iowa, the school choice bill was enacted into law on Tuesday morning by Governor Kim Reynolds. Governor Reynolds' proposal to utilize tax dollars to cover private school tuition was passed by state lawmakers early on Tuesday. The bill was approved by 31 to 18 in the Iowa Senate and by 55 to 45 in the House. All of the Democrats in the Iowa House opposed the measure after nearly 5 hours of discussion on Monday night. 9 Republicans also voted against the bill. Republicans contend, however, that the proposal will provide parents more freedom to enroll their children in whatever school offers the best learning opportunities for their particular needs. Representatives of Protestant, Oriental Orthodox, Anglican churches and other ecclesial communities have welcomed the Ecumenical Vigil of Prayer that will take place before the General Assembly of the Synod of Bishops this year in the Vatican. The event is being organised by the Ecumenical These community. Its prior, Frere Alois, called it a good beginning that can help people realise that the Synod isn't just meant to be a gathering where church officials discuss their issues, but rather a gathering of Christians coming together. The Armenian Apostolic Church's representative to the Holy See emphasised the spirit of humility shown in the call to other churches to share their traditions and their experiences. According to Archbishop Ian Ernest, the Archbishop of Canterbury's personal representative to the Holy See, coming from an Anglican background, the synodal process in the Catholic Church is beneficial. Pope Francis has urged communicators to always speak from the heart and choose the appropriate words to create a better society. The Holy Father said as much in his message for the 57th World Day of Social Communications, which was released on January the 24th, that being the feast of St. Francis de Sales, a patron saint of journalists. The Pope focused on the topic, Speak with the Heart, doing the truth in charity. On the Sunday before Pentecost, which comes this year on May the 21st, the Vatican and dioceses all around the world will mark the World Day of Social Communications. The theme for this year is Listen with the Ear of the Heart. This year's message urges communicators to communicate cordially and never to pursue hostile communications. The Pope said there must be room for declaring the truth, even if at times it is uncomfortable, in a world that is so inclined towards indifference and indignation, at times even based on disinformation, which falsifies and exploits the truth. He also urged communicators to spread the soft strength of love despite the turbulent state of the world today. The reopening of a convent in an Iraqi community destroyed by Muslim extremists has been praised by a Catholic charity as proof that Christianity may once again flourish in the Nineveh Plains. The Dominican Sisters' new convent and kindergarten in Batnaya, which replaced structures destroyed by ISIS during the jihadists' occupancy of the area from 2014 to 2016, was built with assistance from Aid to the Church in Need. Caroline Hull, the National Director of the body's UK branch, said the new convent was a sign of new life in a town where militants had destroyed altars, beheaded statues and scrawled anti-Christian inscriptions on church walls. Chaldean Archbishop Paul Tabet of Al-Kosh said the new convent will give the neighbourhood's Christian population vitality and hope. Over 20,000 individuals are experiencing hardship as a result of floods that devastated numerous areas of Indonesia's western Aceh province in Sumatra. Severe downpours caused water levels to rise by more than 3 metres. Rivers overflowed as a result, forcing thousands of people to seek safety in higher, more protected regions. Among the most affected districts are PDA, PD Jaya, Biroen, Aceh Utara, Aceh Tamiang and Aceh Timur. The local office of Indonesia's National Disaster Management Agency said flooding also caused major traffic jams, with roads blocked by landslides. The rainfall is also affecting other Southeast Asian nations. More than 400 people were evacuated by the authorities in the Malaysian state of Johor after their village was flooded. In Iran, as many as 30 women prisoners have signed an open letter from behind bars calling for an end to sham trials and state execution of protesters. Among the signatories are 2 Christian women who were jailed for abandoning Islam. The 2 women have been identified as Sara Ahmadi and Malihi Nazari by activists from Article 18, a website dedicated to exposing the repressions occurring in the Islamic Republic. They are currently serving 8 and 6 years in prison. Meanwhile, more Iranian individuals were sanctioned by the United Kingdom on Monday for what it claimed to be human rights abuses against Iranian citizens. Those include the recent death of Ali Reza Akbari, a dual citizen of both the United Kingdom and Iran. The British Foreign Office claimed that Ahmad Fazelian, the Iranian Deputy Prosecutor General, was in charge of an unfair legal system that employed the death penalty for political ends. The penalties included a freeze on his assets. Qamar Haidari, the head of Iran's ground forces, and Hossein Nejad, the deputy commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, are among others who have also been sanctioned. The All-Ukrainian Council of Churches members are now in Rome, where they will spend 3 days meeting with Pope Francis and top Vatican officials, as well as taking part in Vespers on the 25th of January. That is the day when the Week of Prayer for Christian Unity concludes. They have long been involved in humanitarian activities and represent 95% of the religious groups in Ukraine. They bring with them a group that was established in 1996 with the goal of coordinating interfaith and interconfessional interaction, both domestically and internationally, as well as uniting the efforts of different denominations to advance Ukraine's spiritual life. The Council's members are also involved in negotiations with the government and the creation of laws governing interactions between confessions and the state. Members of the Council include Major Archbishop Sviatoslav Shevchuk, who is the head of the Greek Catholic Church in Ukraine, and Bishop Vitaly Krivitsky of Kiev, who represents the Latin Church. On Monday, the House of Representatives in the Philippines approved a law on its third and final reading that aims to protect people's freedom to practice their religion without hindrance or prejudice. House Bill number 6492, also known as the Magna Carta on Religious Freedom, which unified existing measures protecting people's religious views, was approved by lawmakers with 256 votes in favour, 1 against and 3 abstentions. The main goal of the legislation is to put into practice Article 3, Section 5, which protects Filipinos' free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship without discrimination or preference. The Magna Carta on Religious Freedom Act will permit anyone to practice their religion freely, with the exception of when doing so results in violence or endangers public safety, public order, health, property, and good morals. A 33-year-old Christian man in Malta is being prosecuted following his testimony about his former life as a homosexual. Matteo will go on trial on February the 3rd at the Court of Magistrates in Valletta on charges related to discussing and advertising so-called conversion practices, which is a crime under Maltese law. It is punishable by 5 months in prison and a fine of €5,000. Gretsch's case is thought to be the first of its kind. In 2016, Malta became the first nation in the European Union to outlaw so-called conversion therapy. The UK government said this week that it was getting ready to publish draft laws to enact a similar prohibition. Gretsch was charged by the police after giving an interview with PM News Malta, a local free speech media organisation, in April of last year. In the interview, Gretsch expressed his disagreement with the term conversion therapy. The Diocese of Cleveland in the US is bringing the National Eucharistic Revival initiative of the US bishops to the streets with 33 billboards that elaborate on 33 comments regarding the sacrament's power from notable Catholics, ranging from St. Jerome to Pope St. John Paul II. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops' National Eucharistic Congress, slated for Indianapolis from July the 17th to the 21st in 2024, is being preceded by a National Eucharistic Revival. Cleveland Diocese, which borders Lake Erie in 8 counties in northeast Ohio, has billboards throughout its highways and back roads. According to Father Damien Ference, the Vicar for Evangelization and the Secretary of Parish Life and Special Ministries, the initiative is a part of a larger marketing strategy that will include the posting of new quotes on new billboards during Lent and large religious gatherings the following summer. Father Ference stated to Our Sunday Visitor that people don't expect to see us out in public with the word. We need to promote the Eucharist by starting conversations. Charitable initiative Mary's Meals have been feeding 149,000 children around the world since March of last year. The initiative combines food and educational help to children in impoverished countries around the world. Since becoming Mary's Meals more than 2 decades ago, the group serves children in the poorest parts of Africa and Asia. The skyrocketing cost of living and the spurt in the prices of food grain and fuel has spiked the cost of meals by 20%. This has forced Mary's Meals to update the cost of feeding a child for 1 year to $25. The group also offers believers a platform to offer their money, goods, skills, and their time. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And do remember, you can always visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.